Welcome to A for Apocalypse, where we investigate life hacks and survival tips and grade them on how useful they'll be in the zombie apocalypse. Thank you for joining me. We have a great show for you today. I received an email from a concerned viewer, a Roger in Tulsa. Tulsa, as we all know from Chandler Bing, is said to be the Paris of Oklahoma by people who have never been to Paris. Anyway, Roger says, Dear A for Apocalypse guy, that's me, I love your show. You are witty and charming and informative all at once. I came across this article on wimp.com about 26 survival hacks for surviving the zombie apocalypse. Are they any good? Please let me know. Sincerely, Roger. Well, Roger, first let me say thank you very much for your kind words. Flattery does get you everywhere. And second, yes, I would love to investigate these hacks for you. So I took a look at this article from wimp.com and I printed it out and I would like to read it to you. The title is, Here are 26 survival hacks that might save your life if you're ever in an emergency. Sounds important. Losing precious sleep, mulling over how you'll pull through an impending zombie apocalypse? Whether it's an end-of-day scenario, an extreme camping adventure, or just a bad day commuting back home, it never hurts to have a few survival tricks up your sleeve. As any good survivalist knows, everyday items can be used in new and exciting ways that you might not expect. Heck, even as something as straightforward as Doritos have a secondary use that you might not know about. Instead of buying the latest and greatest gear, you can craft almost anything you need to stay warm, safe, and well-fed no matter how bad things get. Here, we've collected 26 of the best survival tips from around the internet. After reading this list, you'll be much more inclined to hold on to those old coffee canisters, Tic Tac containers, and glow sticks. And this is just the beginning. Don't be afraid to get creative with the items in your house and figure out how you can hack them into survival necessities. Wow. Heavy stuff. Now, those are some tall promises there, so let's take a look at them and see how they hold up. Hack number 1. Use AAA batteries in AA battery gadgets by making up the difference with tinfoil. Sounds pretty straightforward. I have here a children's toy that requires AA batteries. Now we're going to pretend that it doesn't have these AA batteries, and we're going to even pretend that I don't have spare AA batteries on me, because really, this is the zombie apocalypse, people. You should always have spare batteries. Three pieces of tinfoil, and it doesn't turn on. Still not working. I'll just make sure that it actually works. It does.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
So it's not the device. Not working. No, it doesn't work. Now, maybe I'm doing this wrong, but I tried it both ways. So, if you have successfully tried this, please show me how. Otherwise, I give this one an F. Number 2, slip a $20 bill in between your phone case and your phone so you'll always have emergency funds at hand. Absolutely and utterly useless. I mean, seriously, this is the zombie apocalypse we're talking about, people. Who's going to be accepting your money? What stores are going to be open that you need to pay for stuff in? I mean, if you're not looting stores, you're doing the apocalypse wrong, son. Seriously. And why are you carrying your phone on you? What source of electricity do you have that you are wasting it charging your phone when the cell towers have gone down as the infrastructure crumbles however many days or weeks into the apocalypse? Seriously, Waste of time. Don't even think about it. This gets as many minuses as I can tack onto an F. Number 3. In a pinch, you can write a message in a bottle and send smoke signals with a crayon. Well, I don't know what kind of message in a bottle you're planning to write, but last episode we did demonstrate successfully that you can use a crayon as a candle. So this hack still works and it still gets an A, or an A- if you have children who would be using the crayons for entertainment purposes. Or even if you like using crayons yourself without children. Yeah, I'm not going to judge. Number 4. Soak cotton balls in paraffin or petroleum jelly. Later, you can use them as fire starters. I have these cotton rounds soaked in paraffin. I'm going to place it in an empty Altoids tin, and I am going to light it on fire. And see how well it catches. Now, this catches pretty well, pretty quickly. And this is something that would be very good for you to throw into your campfire to get it started. And if you use scented petroleum jelly, then it's going to smell nice. In the meantime, for safety purposes, I have doused it. So, that's pretty simple, pretty easy. It's more of a survival tip than a life hack, and it's certainly within the scope of the show, but, you know, nomenclature, let's call a spade a spade. Remember to prepare these in advance, and they're extremely useful, so I give this one an A. Number 5, a coffee canister will keep your toilet paper dry. You know, I'm not even going to bother with this one. It's also a waste of time. Yes, we like dry toilet paper, and yes, wet toilet paper is hard to use, but you can just as easily keep your toilet paper dry by putting it in a Ziploc bag and using what you need. It's quicker, it's easier, it takes up less space in your bag, and your bottom's not going to smell like coffee when you're done. This one gets a shaky D. Number 6, if you cover a bunch of branches with a tarp, you can build yourself a makeshift raft. That sounds pretty cool, and it sounds like it just might work. However, I am not going to be testing that out in the middle of winter. You'll have to wait for a summer episode to test that out. So, remind me. Number 7, Tic Tac containers are perfect for spices and dry condiments. So it turns out Tic Tac containers are good for storing spices and dry condiments in. But you know what else is? The containers that they come from the store in. Now, maybe Tic Tac containers are better for stacking in your bag, but I really don't think it's worth your time and effort. I give this one a D. Number 8, instead of plastic bags, transfer food like beans and rice into plastic bottles. They're less likely to rip and spill. It's true that plastic bottles are less likely to rip and spill than plastic bags. However, you need to make sure that you dry them out completely when you clean them, because if they're wet or moist, they're going to grow rot or mold much more quickly. Also, they're much harder to pack in your bag. They're less malleable than the plastic bags are. So that makes it a little more difficult for transporting stuff. And they're equal to plastic bags in protecting from rodents. So, you know, this is probably a B. Useful for storage, less useful for transporting. Yeah, I'll give it a B. Number 9. An Altoids tin with corrugated cardboard can be used as a tiny portable heater or light source. So I have here with me an Altoids tin in which I have placed corrugated cardboard. This is not as impressive as I thought it would be. I think if you pour paraffin in here, it'll be much better. You know what? Let's try that. Let's see if there's any spare paraffin left in this bag that I can squeeze out. Don't know if you can see that little bit of paraffin that dripped in there. Let's see if that helps. Ooh, there we go. much better. Teeny bit of paraffin makes this work really, really well. And yeah, this is a nice little portable heater or flame or whatever it is you need. And the great thing is, when you want it done, just close the lid. Very easy, good for safety. So, an Altoids tin with corrugated cardboard gets an F. An Altoids tin with corrugated cardboard and a teeny bit of paraffin, that gets an A+. Number 10. Wolverine your hands with your car keys if you feel unsafe walking to your car. Where to begin? In society, this is very useful. When there are a lot of people around, it's late at night, dark, whatever it is, walking to your car with your keys between your knuckles it's a really good idea. It makes you feel safer, and it's certainly much easier to scare away a would-be attacker with a single punch, punching them with keys between your hands. However, in the zombie apocalypse, this is all kinds of hail no. I mean, you should never ever let a zombie get close enough that you can punch him with your keys. If you do, it's a little bit too late. And the keys aren't going to do anything because the zombie's not going to feel it. And if you're punching somebody who isn't a zombie, what are you thinking? You should be teaming up with them to help you increase your odds of survival. Even if you hate them and don't trust them. But if you trust them, that is wonderful. You guys are going to make a great team and drastically improve your odds of survival. If you don't trust them, then you have someone who you can hamstring so that you can run faster when the zombies are chasing you. Because really, the best... you don't need to be faster than the zombies, you just need to be faster than the other guy. Now, I don't recommend that strategy on people you trust and your loved ones, but for other people, it works really, really well. And it's a really good contingency plan. I give this an F-. No, I'll give it an F+. It's kind of useful when it's not the zombie apocalypse. When it is a zombie apocalypse, it's not. So F+ for the thought. Number 11. Water, brown sugar, and yeast will make a chemical-free mosquito trap. There are no mosquitoes in the winter here, so I can't test it out right now. However, it sounds like it would really work. Now, we can test it in the spring or the summer, but just remember, yeast, in the presence of sugar, ferments and produces carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is what attracts mosquitoes. As our breathing out is what attracts the mosquitoes. That lets them know where we are. So in theory, this should work really well and could do lots for drowning all the mosquitoes nearby. It's just a question, you kind of have to toss it up in your own mind. Is it more worthwhile to use this sugar and yeast for non-food purposes? You know, in places where there are a lot of bloodborne pathogens, maybe it's worth it, you know? So I personally am going to give this a B because it's kind of useful. But you can bump it up to an A or down to a C, depending on your local mosquito populations and personal preference. Number 12. A water jug and a headlamp make an ambient lantern bright enough to light up a tent. This headlamp by itself is pretty good, and it's nice for reading and seeing stuff directly in front of you. But to help spread the light, you take the strap and you put it around a bottle. It makes a diffuse light, which helps illuminate more things around you. This is pretty cool. It actually works with any kind of flashlight. I have in my bag, of course, I have somewhere here, I have another flashlight, which if I were to take this off and turn it off, I can do the same thing. The benefit of the headlamp is that it has a strap, so you don't need to keep your hands or duct tape or anything to keep the light attached to the water. Yeah, I give this one an A. This is pretty useful. Certainly makes it easier to read. And then a headlamp. It makes it easier for more than one person to read at a time. Number 13. Add a layer of sand insulation between two terracotta pots. Water the sand and place your food in the smaller center pot for an off-the-grid fridge. We're not even going to bother testing this one. This one can work, but really only for fruits and vegetables and grain products and that sort of thing. the interior temperature of the inner terracotta pot is going to remain in the low 50s, similar to a root cellar. So it's only good for storing produce and grains and that sort of thing. You're not going to want to store dairy or meat in there, unless, of course, you like food poisoning, in which case I recommend that you get professional help. I give this one a B. It's semi-useful. Yeah, solid B. Number 14. In an emergency, you can fill a flat tire with grass. I can imagine you can fill a flat tire with grass or anything even when it's not an emergency, but I'm going to go out on a limb and assume that they're trying to say that you can fill a flat tire with grass and drive on it. We will have to save this one for another episode. Number 15. A glow stick and a mousetrap attached to a tripwire make a lo-fi security system. I think they mean low-tech. Lo-fi refers to music quality. Anyway, if the tripwires are triggered, the snapping of the mousetrap will activate the glow stick and alert you to an intruder. Ooh, where do I begin with this one? Let's see, this is nice in theory, but let's think about it for a second. If it's alerting you by the glow stick breaking open and the glow juice being on the ground, then you need to be paying attention to it. You need to be patrolling, or you need to come across it in order to be alerted to the fact that your perimeter has been breached. Which means that if a zombie trips it and alerts you with this glow stick, it is way too late by the time you find out. You need some kind of audio alarm so you can make a perimeter far out. That way you have time to react to the breach. You know, a string with tin cans on it or something that alerts you to the fact that somebody walked by without having to actually see it. The only thing this is really useful for would be if you leave the camp, and you can set this up to alert you if somebody has come and meddled with your things, tampered with your things while you were away. So it does have that use. Otherwise, it's not that useful. I'd kind of give it a C. 16. You can also use glow sticks to keep an eye on where everyone in your party is as you move around in the dark. Coordinate signals to communicate quietly across large distances. This is okay, this is good, but dangerous. When you're trying to evade zombies, you don't really want to be painting a bullseye around your neck, and if you have one of those glow bracelets, glow necklaces, or glow sticks that you're holding, that's kind of what you're doing. The problems are that glow sticks, they're not very bright. Once they've turned on, they're on for good until they die, and they don't have very long lifespans. So your better bet is to have a flashlight and extra batteries. And if you haven't looted enough stores to have a cache of extra batteries lying around, then really I have nothing positive to say about your right to survive a zombie apocalypse. You should always have spare batteries. But if, for instance, somehow you ran out of batteries, or this is many, many, many years into the zombie apocalypse and you still have glow sticks left, then yeah, I suppose this works. But I'm really not thrilled with it because it's not great. I'll give this one a C also. Something doesn't sit well with me. Next one. Your glasses can be used as a magnifying glass to start a fire. Well, we have seen how magnifying glasses can successfully be used to start a fire. We will, however, wait for better environmental conditions, such as not cloudy days, to test out whether you can use your glasses for starting a fire. Trash bags work as ponchos if you're caught by surprise rain showers. I am using a shower to simulate the conditions of a rain shower. So you can see that I am testing out this trash bag as a poncho, and it seems to be working okay. If I weren't wearing a hat, my head would be getting all soaked. It's not very comfortable. And my legs are getting a little bit wet because it doesn't go all the way to the ground, but that's kind of what would happen if I were using a poncho or a regular raincoat as well. So, all in all, I think this works. So that worked pretty well. Chances are, if you are caught off guard by the weather due to a lack of TV meteorologists, you'll be closer to a trash bag than to a rain jacket anyway. So, This is pretty good. I'd give it an A. Number 19. Turn soda cans into quick and easy hooks with just 2 snips. You know, I like this one. I don't think we even need to test it. I mean, you're just cutting off the tab. All you need is a pair of scissors. Tin snips are obviously best. They're designed for that sort of thing. But even kitchen scissors should work. You know, attach a string to it and you got yourself a fishing hook, a fishing line. You know, I give this one an A. Number 20. A mechanical pencil and thin piece of string create a tick removal lasso. We'll save this one for an episode filmed in a warmer month, where we can find ticks. Number 21. Baby oil will help prevent frostbite on the part of your face that's exposed to the elements. You know, this one's a bit tough to test. It's the right time of year for it, but I'm just not quite dedicated enough to this project to risk frostbite. However, having grown up in Winnipeg, recently announced as one of the 5 coldest cities on the planet, I do know a thing or two about cold and the risks associated with it. So the very first thing I'll say is if you're risking frostbite, you are not prepared properly. If you have to go out in the cold, if it's that cold and windy, you need to stay inside, first of all. But if you do have to go out, you know, like, let's say you're a kid and your mother is forcing you to go to school, even though it's really, really cold, and the school's not calling a snow day, just saying, then bundle up. You know, wear extra layers, extra socks, extra mittens, extra scarves. If you're properly prepared, you can even wear ski goggles over your eyes. But if you don't have enough layers or fabric or everything to cover yourself, and you do have to go out because, say, during the zombie apocalypse, there's a medical emergency and you need to go to what used to be the supermarket and loot the pharmacy because you didn't have the foresight to do that in advance, then yes, baby oil or even Vaseline's probably better, can help create a barrier to help keep in some of your body heat to reduce your risk of frostbite. So it's good. It's good to know. You should never need it, but if you do need it, it's there. So I'm going to give it a B. Number 22. Doritos, they're great for kindling. Best not spend too much time thinking about this one. F minus. F minus to the infinity. What are you thinking? Wasting Doritos on kindling when you have so many awesome ways to start a fire. This is I literally can't even. I mean, come on. Doritos? No. Never. 23. A wick in a jar of vegetable shortening creates a long-lasting candle in an instant. Similar to the wick in a can of fish in oil that we explored last episode, this works pretty well. Now again, this will use up some of the shortening, and shortening is food, and I don't usually like to use food for non-food purposes. However, shortening isn't like nuts or Doritos that you can directly eat, because that's just disgusting. So this is still pretty useful, and you know, I'll give it an A minus. 24. A piece of chalk will help you keep from getting lost as you blaze your own trail until it rains and washes away the chalk. As any Boy Scout or woodsman or woodswoman person will tell you, there are plenty of ways to mark your trail with rocks, with branches and twigs that are so much better. You know, the simplest one is to just use a large rock with a small rock pointing in the direction that you're going and a small rock pointing in the direction that you came from. Or 2 or 1, however you want to do it. But the point is, there are other ways to do it that aren't going to wash away so easily, and they're not as obtrusive. So if you're not looking for it, you're going to miss it. And that's kind of what you want in the zombie apocalypse. You know, you don't want any semi-smart zombies going, "Eh?" and seeing that there's a mark and following it. That's actually what semi-smart zombies do. "Eh?" It's been documented in photographs. Number 25. An aluminum can sliced like this with just a small candle will have maximum reflective properties for the brightest light. Alright, this one is pretty cool. I have a can, empty can, and a knife, which I will. So, let us open it like so. Let us light our deformed candle. Then we will put that inside very gently. And we have a bright little lamp. I give that an A. Last but not least, duct tape, along with about 1,000 other uses, can be helpful in opening up a stubborn jar. Yeah, this one's okay. I don't have any stubborn jars to test it on. However, I do know that if it's really, really crusted on with gunk, duct tape itself is probably not going to help. If it's just a little bit too tight or your hands are a little bit too slippery, duct tape is good and it'll probably work. Well, there you have it, folks. Thank you to Roger from Tulsa for your concerned email. Thank you to the good folks over at wimp.com for putting up this list. And thank you for joining me. As always, if you have any hacks you'd like us to investigate, please mention them in the comment section below. In the meantime, please like this video, share it with your friends, click to subscribe, and stay tuned for the next episode of A for Apocalypse.